Hello YouTube, this is Geeky Austin, and today we're going to take a look at the Bandai Dragon Stars Dragon Ball Super First Form Frieza. First Form Frieza stands at about 5¼ inches tall from the top of his horns. And here he is next to the SH Figure Arts Frieza Resurrection and the Bandai Dragon Stars Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black. Okay, and on to detail. The detail on this guy is spot on perfect. Without a single bit of doubt, Bandai America, you knocked this figure out of the park in terms of its sculpt. The likeness on his face is dead on accurate to that in the anime. The details on the Saiyan armor is really good. The details and wrinkles on his skin look really good all the way up to his fists, all the way down to his tail here. You can see all the nice worm-like ridges all across it. It is really, really good looking, and I really love how it turned out. And all the way down to just simplistic details like here in the back of the neck. The shape of his skull looks really good. The dome is nicely sculpted as well, and his Dragon Ball Z Scouter looks really, really good, and even has a nice bit of translucent plastic right there to allow you to be able to see both of his eyes. Without a single bit of doubt here, Bandai America knocked this figure out of the park with its sculpt and detail. I love everything about this figure from the way it looks. And as for the paint job wise is simplistically done, and in that respect I like it because he does have a lot of nice shiny metallic paint going on his dome here on the Saiyan armor as well. But where the biggest problem is that, once again, like I mentioned for my Super Saiyan Trunks, there is no type of shading to it. There is no extra texture or shading to the paint to make it pop more. It's still done in a very flat brush on, and there's nothing else to it. Now, I'm not going to say that's a bad thing in this case, because he still turned out fantastic in my eyes, but for some, that might be just a tiny bit of a letdown, but whatever. He does have, like I said, a very nice metallic purple going on his dome and on his body armor, along with some nice bits of brown right here. The pink used on his skin is not bad at all, and it looks really good, all the way down to the light purple for his hands and his legs, all the way down to the nice metallic purple here on the tip of his tail. Detail-wise, it is really, really good, and I also do like that even if there's not a whole lot of detail in the Scouter itself, they did at least paint it with a nice red button right there and a little bit of black on the side. Again, the paint is not detailed, but it still looks like it's from the show, and I really do like that. If I had to be a little nitpicky and go down with one little downside, his toenails and fingernails that you'll see on the extra hands, they aren't painted. They're supposed to be a black or purple color, but whatever. At this point, that is me being nitpicky. Okay, and on to articulation. The articulation on this guy is just as good as you would expect from Bandai Dragon Star figures at this point. It is a vast improvement over their original figures, and for Frieza here, in my opinion, I really do love what they have done, but I am going to be a bit nitpicky in at least two spots. But let's get on to it. The head is on a ball joint, which allows you to spin his head all the way around. You can get a little bit of side-to-side movement, and for up and down, you can get him to look down that far, which is amazing. Very menacing look for Frieza, and you can only get him to look up about that far. because the back of the skull right here hinders the articulation movement with the neck. I really do wish you could look up just a little bit more, but again, that's me being nitpicky. There's no joint here at the bottom of the neck right there. Then we moved on down to the arms. The arms are on a ball hinge system right here, which allows you to move his arms up that far and back that far, and you can pull his arms all the way out to get him as straight as this. Again, you can't get a whole lot of movement out of these joints right here because the Saiyan armor does kind of block that from happening. And I never did get Vegeta from SH Figure Arts, but I did know that in the case of SH Figure Arts, these shoulder bits right here were separate pieces so you could further extend his arms up. And they decided not to do that in this case, but honestly I'm kind of glad because I can see stuff like this here breaking very easily if they didn't do if they had done that, excuse me. Okay, moving on down, he has got a swivel right here at the upper arm, right there underneath the shoulder, which can allow you to spin his arm all the way around, which is not too bad. He has a double hinge system right here at the elbow, which is really fantastic, and you can get his arm to bend all the way like that, and of course all the way straight up, which is not too bad at all. And on his wrist, he does have a ball hinge system on the wrist right here, which allows you, of course, to spin his wrist all the way around, and you can get his wrist to go up that far and back that far. Moving on down to the waist, this is where my second little bit of nitpicky is, but the waist right here, it's hindered so much by the sculpt going on with his tail and also with just the way it is that, yeah, you're not going to get a whole lot out of it. You can get his torso to spin all the way around, and you can get a tiny bit of side-to-side movement and a tiny bit of forward and back movement. Again, me being nitpicky, but I really do wish that the articulation right here was better. Because if there's anything at all that you can't really do with this Frieza is you cannot make him sit. So any possible foreseeable future of putting him inside of his little hovering pod, well, you can go ahead and kiss that idea bye-bye. And now moving on to the legs. The legs have the same butterfly hinge system that the original SH Figure Arts figures have, and allows you to be able to bring his legs all the way down like so you can get him to do almost a complete split. And this does allow you to bring his arms forward that far and back that far, which is really nice. And let me get this back into place. Next on there, he does have a swivel right here. You can see that little joint right there. He does have a swivel right there, which allows you to move his legs about like that right there, which does also help because when you bring the legs down like that and you bring those forward, you can see that his legs automatically rotate toward the direction that you're turning it. So with that extra joint, you can straighten his leg out a bit more so you can get a little bit of forward movement. So his leg is looking more straight, which is nice. That's a very nice touch there. The knees are on a double hinge system, just like the elbows, which allows you to bend his knees in that far right there and all the way forward, which is really nice. And his feet are on a ball hinge system, which allows you to spin them all the way around, and you can bring them down that much and up that far. And amazingly enough, this freaking figure has ankle rocker movement, which is amazing. I love that so much. And finally, on to the last bit of articulation of this figure, is the tail. The tail on the base right here has a ball hinge system which allows you to rotate it all the way around, and you can bring it down that much and out that far. And right here is a swivel which allows you to rotate the tail all the way around. And what the beauty of this tail is that it allows you to come up with multiple ways of posing that tail because of its articulation system. You can pose the tail to be behind Frieza like that. You can have it splayed out like so. You can rotate the tail up to have it over this way, like that if you want. Again, the possibilities of what you can pose with this tail are endless. So, for those that enjoy taking pictures of your action figures, this is amazing, and I really do love how it came out. Okay, and on to accessories. This here is the weakest part of this figure, without a doubt. For accessories, we do get the usual open-handed hands right here, just like all the other Dragon Star figures it came with. Camera, could you focus on those, please? Okay, there. I got one at least. And yeah, it's sculpted nicely, it doesn't look too bad, but as I stated, the fingernails are not painted, which might annoy some folks, but it doesn't bother me too much. I still think they look okay. And for a bonus, he also does come with his death ball posing finger right there, which is really, really nice. I do love this, and you can make a lot of awesome shots and poses using this finger, which is really nice. And the way to swap it out, of course, all you gotta do is you just got to pop it off right there at the wrist and then pop the new hand on. And there you go. And like I said, I really do love this pose that they gave this Frieza figure, and it's very nice. Again, with the accessories though, the downside is that there's no build-a-figure piece. This is all that you get. With the extra space that they normally make for build-a-figure pieces, they could have easily given us some more hands, maybe an alternate head with a screaming face, or even one without a scouter. Like I said, there's easily ways that they could have given more accessories to this guy, but it's nice enough that we at least got this, but still, you could even give him an effect piece. But for those that are curious and wondering, yes, if you've got an SH Figure Arts Frieza figure, you can use the effect pieces that come with that figure on this guy. All you gotta do is just be careful and attach it to his wrist. The wrist may pop off, so you might have to play around with it a bit, but once you get it right, once you get it on there just right, yes, you can give this Frieza a death ball if you've got a SH Figure Arts Final Form Frieza. Okay, and the last little bit of thing to say is that also you can try to use the Final Form Frieza's Death Beam if you want, but again, this finger is not pointing straight. Again, Bandai America, it would have been nice if you had given us that too, but yeah, you could design it to look like this. Give me just 1 second. Okay, there we go. As I was saying, yes, if you've got a SH Figure Arts Final Form Frieza, you can use his Death Beam effect on there too. It's just like I said, that hand is not the correct hand. But it is nice that you can accessorize with your SH Figure Arts Frieza if you want to for this guy right here. And of course, lastly, if you do have a Tamashi's flight stand, you can use him. You just got to be careful and put the tail in about the right spot to where he's not knocking into the base, and then you can just attach him about right there where the body armor is, and you can get him to stay standing up. That is, if my Frieza would cooperate and do that. But yeah, you get the idea. But yes, you have to be careful and play around with it because, again, he's a little heavy for this type of flight stand. But if you got a flight stand and you want to pose him flying, go for it. You can so totally do that. Okay, so overall, the detail on this guy is spot on amazing, and the paint job, while it is flat and could have been done a little bit better, I still feel that they pulled this figure straight out from the anime, and I think it's not that bad. And the articulation, despite my two little nitpicky spots, is, in my opinion, very stellar, and I love how it turned out. And the accessories, while I wish that we could have gotten a bit more, it's like, what could you do? But yes, for a $22 figure, and for the first ever version of this form of Frieza, definitely I highly, highly recommend that you pick this guy up if you're into collecting Dragon Ball figures. This guy is worth your money. He is fantastic. And thank you all so much for listening and watching. This has been Geeky Austin.